It's 2 a.m. in my penthouse, and I'm holding the papers that ended my marriage. We just celebrated my new engagement at least. That's what I thought. My fiancée Misty was supposed to be my new start, but something felt off. Then I smelled its cedarwood cologne, sharp and foreign. It wasn't mine. As she pressed against me, I caught a glimpse of something in her pocket, a keychain with KJ engraved on it. I knew those initials. Kurt Jimenez, a man I trusted. A cold, gnawing doubt crept into my chest. Had I been played? Misty noticed my stare and quickly hid it, her smile slipping like cracked glass. I'd signed those papers hours ago, convinced my wife had cheated on me. But now, I wasn't so sure who the real cheater was. Misty's knuckles were white, a sign she was holding onto a secret. This penthouse was supposed to be my safe haven. Now, it felt like a prison of lies. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but I held back. I needed to be sure. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. This wasn't over. Misty's smile never reached her eyes. I knew she was lying. We'd celebrated my new freedom. But freedom was just another lie. The air in the room was thick with tension. We were both playing a game. I made a vow. I would uncover the truth, no matter what it cost. I pushed the annulment papers aside. That marriage wasn't the only thing I'd lost. I realized I'd walked into a web of revenge, and I had no idea how to get out. I took a step forward, ready to face the lies head on. Misty watched me, her eyes filled with a hatred I couldn't understand. Not yet. I clenched my fists, my knuckles white. I would make them pay for what they'd done. The city outside was asleep, unaware of the storm brewing inside my penthouse. That keychain wasn't just a piece of metal. It was a clue, a weapon. I didn't sleep a wink last night, guilt eating me alive as I stared at Eliana's old photo. This office used to feel like my kingdom, but now it's just a reminder of my failures. Then Neil showed up, his face grim, holding something that would blow everything wide open. He dropped the folder on my desk, Misty's financial records, laid bare for me to see. I couldn't process what I was reading. Misty had been draining my accounts for months. Fake accounts, hidden transfers. She'd been siphoning my money right under my nose. Every transaction, every withdrawal proof, she'd been lying from the very beginning. I slammed my fist down, my blood boiling. How could I have been such a fool? Then he pulled out a receipt, a luxury condo bought the night she said she was with her sister. That was the final blow. She'd played me, manipulated me, and I'd let her destroy everything. Neil leaned in, his voice sharp with urgency. This wasn't just about money for Misty. He told me she was after revenge, that I'd crossed her in some way I couldn't even remember. I sank back in my chair, my mind racing. What had I done to deserve this? And then I thought of Eliana, the woman I'd pushed away, the one who'd actually been telling me the truth. I couldn't stay here, wallowing in self-pity. I had to fix this, for Eliana and for myself. But as I reached for the door, I knew this was only the beginning. Misty wasn't done with me yet. Neil called after me, warning me to be careful. But I was already beyond caring about careful. I stepped into the hallway, the weight of what I had to do pressing down on me, but I had no choice. I had to fight back. Every step felt like a battle cry. I was done being the victim. It was time to take back control. Misty thought she could break me, but she had no idea what I was truly capable of when pushed to the edge. I followed Misty to her apartment lobby, my heart pounding with suspicion and rage. I waited for what felt like hours, until finally she stepped out of the elevator. Then I saw him, a man in a leather jacket, pulling her into a tight hug. He slipped an envelope into her hand, their fingers brushing like they owned each other. She laughed and tucked her hair behind her ear, something she never did with me. That's when our eyes locked. She knew I was there, and she didn't care. I fumbled for my phone, snapping photos to capture their secret meeting. The man glanced over his shoulder, his eyes filled with cold, malicious intent. I ducked back behind the pillar, my breath catching in my throat. They walked away together, leaving me standing alone in the impersonal lobby. I clenched my phone so hard, my knuckles turned white, my anger boiling over. The lobby bustled around me, but I felt completely isolated in my rage. The elevator doors closed behind them, but the questions in my mind only grew. I stared at their photos, vowing to uncover every single one of their secrets. Who was this man? And what did he want with Misty and me? I stormed out of the apartment building, my mind racing with possibilities. The city lights blazed around me, hiding more lies in every shadow. I zoomed in on the man's face, committing every detail to memory. I slid into my car, my hand still shaking from the confrontation. I turned the key in the ignition, ready to chase the truth no matter where it led. What was in that envelope? What were they plotting behind my back? The city stretched out before me, a web of deception waiting to be untangled. I gripped the steering wheel, my resolve hardening with every passing second. I knew this was only the beginning, and whatever came next would change everything. I clutched the photos of Misty and Kurt, my hands shaking. This was my only shot to find Eliana. Ria slammed open the door, her scowl so deep it made me flinch. She hated me for what I'd done to Eliana. I laid the photos on her coffee table, my voice cracking. I told her what I'd found about Misty. Ria's eyes widened, then narrowed. She grabbed her coat, her voice sharp with urgency. "You don't know the half of it, Andre," she said. I could tell she hid a shattering truth. Her knuckles whitened as she gripped her mug. She was about to break my world apart. "Eliana didn't cheat on you. she said, her voice cold. My blood ran instantly cold. I couldn't believe it. All the lies I believed. I destroyed her for nothing. She left to save your life, she snapped. The Guerreros targeted you. She made a deal to keep you safe. I remembered throwing her clothes out, calling her a coward. I'd been the real monster. Tears burned my eyes. I whispered an apology, but it felt so small, so meaningless. Ria sighed, her voice softening. It's not about apologies now. We have to find her fast. I stared at their beach photo, her warm smile. I'd ruined that happiness, forever. Ria grabbed her coat from the hook. She's hiding in a safe house in Batangas. Hurry. I stood up, my heart racing. For the first time, I had a purpose, to fix the mess I made. My hands shook with determination. I wouldn't let her down this time, not again. If we don't hurry, you'll lose her forever, Ria warned. I knew she was right. I nodded, my voice steady. I won't let that happen. I'll fix this for her. We stepped out into the hallway, the door clicking shut. My race to save Eliana had just begun. We walked quickly to the elevator, every second feeling like an hour. I prayed we weren't too late. I pressed the elevator button, my hand shaking. Every second brought me closer to her, or to losing her. Ria gave me a determined look. We'll find her, she said. For the first time, I believed her. Ria brought me to this beach cafe, carrying a secret that would shatter everything I believed. I thought I knew why Eliana left, that she'd betrayed me for another man, but I was living a lie. The Guerrero family had been targeting my company, with threats to burn it to the ground. They demanded half my assets, or they'd destroy everything I'd built. But Eliana discovered their plan, and she made a sacrifice I could never repay. She struck a deal with them to leave me forever if they'd spare my life. She didn't leave because she didn't love me. She left because she loved me too much. I called her a coward, a traitor, and threw her out like she was nothing. But she was the bravest person I knew. I thought I was the one being wronged, but I was the one who destroyed her. All the things I said to her and the way I treated her, I can never take it back. This was her workplace. The Guerreros burned it down to prove they meant business. She saw this, and she still chose to save me. I don't deserve her forgiveness. She's hiding in a safe house in Batangas, but the Guerreros are still hunting her. They won't stop until they find her, and they'll make her pay for crossing them. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to find her, and I'm going to make this right. I wasted so much time hating her. Now, I'll spend every second saving her. You have to hurry, Andre. They're closing in on her fast. I won't fail her again. I promise that to myself and to her. The road ahead will be hard, but I'll walk it for her. This is my chance to redeem myself and to save the woman I love. I'm going to Batangas. I'm going to find Eliana. Nothing is going to stop me from getting her back. The journey to save Eliana and to save myself starts now. I'm racing to Batangas, every second counting, to find Eliana before it's too late. Her photo stares back at me, a constant reminder of the damage I've caused. That's when I saw it, a black SUV, shadows clinging to it, tailing me without mercy. They know where I'm going. The Guerrero family's no longer hiding in the shadows. Every mile closer to Batangas is a mile closer to a showdown I can't avoid. I press the gas to the floor, desperate to put distance between us. But they match my speed, hungry, closing in faster than I can breathe. I fumble for my phone, my hands shaking too much to steady them. Ria's name glows on the screen, my only chance to warn someone, to get help. My voice cracks as I speak, telling her they're following, that they know where we're heading. The world blurs past me, but the SUV in my mirror never disappears. I won't let them get to Eliana, not after everything she's sacrificed for me. Their headlights burn in my rear view, a pair of hungry eyes hunting me down. My palms slick with sweat. I grip the wheel, like it's the only thing keeping me from braking. The sun dips lower, painting the sky blood orange, a warning of the dark night coming for us. Ria's voice is a lifeline on the other end, telling me to hold on, that help is coming. I hit a sharp curve, yanking the wheel hard, hoping to lose them in the turn. But they follow perfectly, like they've been waiting for this chase all along. Despair claws at me, but I push it down. I have to reach Eliana. Batangas is just ahead, but I don't know if I'll make it there alive. I play with the gas and brake, trying every trick to shake them off my tail. Her photo shakes with the car's jolts, a silent plea to keep going, to find her. They're closing in, so close I can almost hear their engine's hungry roar. I lock my eyes on the road ahead, ready to fight for every last second to reach her. Their headlights blind me for a split second, a trick, a trap, a chance to strike. I skidded to a stop at the safe house, my screaming tires kicking up gravel. My chest felt like it would burst. Eliana stood on the porch, a baseball bat clamped in her hands. Her eyes were wide, with raw, unfiltered fear. The black SUV pulled up behind me, its doors slamming open. I knew we were in serious trouble. Two men in black masks stepped out, their hands already hovering over their pockets. They meant business. I jumped out of the car, throwing myself between Eliana and the threat. I had to protect her. Eliana grabbed my arm, yanking me toward the door. "Get inside, Andre, now!" I stumbled toward the door, my eyes never leaving the advancing men. Time seemed to slow down. One of the men pulled a folding knife from his pocket, the blade glinting in the dim light. This was no bluff. Eliana wrenched me inside, her fingers fumbling with the doorknob. We were so close to safety. The door slammed shut behind us, the lock clicking into place. We were inside, but the danger wasn't over. We pressed our backs against the door, listening to the men pounding on the wood outside. The sound was deafening. Eliana turned to me, her voice shaking so bad I could barely hear her. She had been through enough. "They're not here for me," she whispered. "They're here for you. All of this is because of me." My blood ran cold. I had brought this danger to her again. I was so stupid, so blind. The pounding grew louder, more violent. They were going to break through. We had to do something, fast. I scanned the room for anything we could use as a weapon. We weren't going down without a fight. Eliana pulled a small pistol from her backpack, her hands surprisingly steady. She had been prepared for this. I grabbed a baseball bat from the corner, gripping it tightly. For her, I would fight until my last breath. We stood back to back, covering every angle. Whatever came through that door, we were ready. The door started to crack, the wood splintering under their blows. Our time was running out. What would happen next? I huddled behind the couch, heart pounding so hard I thought it'd burst. Eliana was beside me, steady nothing like the woman I'd cast out like trash. That's when she reached into her bag, and my breath caught in my throat. She pulled out a pistol, her movements smooth, practiced. This wasn't new. I stared, stunned. How much had I missed about the woman I'd loved? She didn't look at me when she spoke, her voice low and sharp. "The Guerreros found me a week ago. They've been hunting me ever since." I froze. How had I let her face this alone? All because of Misty's lies. Misty wasn't just lying to you. She helped them set me up to make you hate me. That's when we heard it scraping at the door. They were here. I grabbed the baseball bat from the corner, my hands shaking but determined. We exchanged a look, no more words needed. We had to fight. Eliana's voice was sharp, cutting through the tension. The banging got louder, wood creaking like it'd splinter any second. I'd failed her once. I wasn't going to let it happen again. She nodded, and I tensed, raising the bat above my shoulder. A sliver of light cut through the darkness. They were coming in. My blood roared in my ears. This was it, fight or die. For her, for me. In that split second, I knew everything was about to change forever. Her voice was a whisper, but I heard it, clear as day. "When I say run, you run." We were running for our lives, every second counting in that overgrown hell. The backyard was a maze of weeds, and we had no time to slow down. Then, Eliana tripped over a root, her scream caught in my throat. He emerged from the dark, his grip like iron on her arm. I raised the bat, every muscle screaming to protect her. I swung with everything I had, hearing his gut-wrenching grunt. He crumpled to the ground, gasping for air. I pulled her up, and we didn't waste another second. We ran for the dirt road, our feet pounding the muddy ground. The road stretched ahead, but I could hear more footsteps behind us. Then I saw headlights Neil come to save us. He skidded to a stop, yelling for us to hurry. I dragged Eliana toward the car, our hands intertwined. We tumbled inside, and Neil hit the gas instantly. The men behind us screamed in rage, but we were already pulling away. The car roared down the road, leaving our pursuers in the dust. I looked back, half expecting them to catch up. Eliana was gasping, her whole body shaking from the adrenaline. Neil didn't say a word, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. We drove into the night, but I knew this wasn't over yet. They wouldn't stop hunting us, not after what happened. The backyard was quiet again, but it would never feel safe. We sat in silence, grateful to be alive, but fearing what comes next. I squeezed her hand, silently promising to never let her go again. The sky was starting to lighten, but our fight was far from over. The air in Neil's apartment felt thick enough to cut, and every breath tasted like regret. I stood by the window, staring at city lights that once felt like hope. My hands shook as I replayed every cruel word I'd thrown at Eliana. Neil approached, holding a beer that felt like a lifeline, not a drink. I glanced over, and my chest tightened at the sight of Eliana's bandaged wrist. That faint scar told a story I was only just beginning to understand. Neil set the beer in my hand, his voice sharp, with truth I couldn't ignore. "You have to make this right," he said, and I knew he was right. I walked toward her, every step feeling like I was carrying a mountain of guilt. I reached out, desperate to touch her, to beg for forgiveness, but she pulled away, like my touch burned her skin. Neil stood up and left, giving us the space we both needed, but didn't know how to use. I stood there, feeling more alone than I ever had in my life. Eliana looked at me, her eyes holding a mix of pain and something I couldn't name. Her eyes glistened with tears, and I knew I'd broken something that might never fix. I sat down beside her, my hand hovering in the air, scared to push her further away. She spoke, her voice quiet, but sharp enough to cut through my guilt. "It's not that easy, Andre. Trust isn't something you fix with one apology." Her words hit me like a punch, but they also lit a fire in my chest. I knew then that fixing this would take more than words. It would take everything I had. I would spend every day proving to her that I was worth trusting again. But the question hung in the air, would she ever give me that chance? I sat at my desk, staring at Eliana's photo, ready to make things right. Months of lies had torn us apart, but I was determined to fix it. Then the phone rang. Her name lit up the screen like a warning. I hesitated for a second, then picked it up, my voice cold and steady. Misty's voice cut through the line, sharp and dripping with venom. She laughed, mocking Eliana like she was nothing but a joke. Every word she said about Eliana made my blood boil in my veins. "You're lying," I snarled. "I know the truth about your little games." Her laugh died, replaced by a cold, furious growl. I told her I knew she'd been draining my bank accounts, lying about everything. "You think that matters?" she spat. "I'll ruin everything you love." My grip on the phone tightened, my resolve harder than ever. I hung up the phone, knowing she wouldn't stop until she got what she wanted. I was tired, but I wouldn't let her hurt Eliana or me ever again. I stared at Eliana's photo, vowing to keep her safe no matter what. The city stretched out below, but all I could think about was keeping Eliana safe. Misty wanted war? Then war was what she'd get. I grabbed my gun, setting it on the desk just in case. I knew Misty would come for me, and I'd be ready when she did. Then the phone rang again, her name glowing like a death sentence. I reached for the phone, my heart pounding but my voice steady. "This isn't over," she hissed through the line. "I'll make you pay." "Come and try," I replied, hanging up the phone once more. The sun began to set, but I knew the night would bring new dangers. I held Eliana's photo close, knowing we'd get through this together. I raced back to Neil's apartment, panic clawing at my chest with every step. Eliana and Ria were already waiting, their faces drained of color. Misty's threat burned. In my mind, she was coming for Eliana, not just me. Every step felt like lead, the weight of her words crushing me. Neil joined us, his usually calm eyes now clouded with worry. Ria didn't waste time, we had to leave, and we had to leave right now. Eliana hesitated, then slowly reached out her hand toward me. When her trembling fingers touched mine, a fragile spark of hope cut through the fear. Ria grabbed our bags, already planning our escape route. We moved with urgent silence, every second potentially costing us our lives. Neil grabbed his car keys, already heading for the door to start the engine. Eliana glanced back, as if saying goodbye to the life she once knew. I silently vowed to keep her safe, no matter what came our way. We slipped out into the night, the door clicking shut behind us like a final warning. The city felt like a giant trap, every shadow hiding a potential threat. My phone died, cutting us off from the outside world completely. Ria pulled out a map, marking a quiet route out of the city. Eliana kept her gun close, ready to fight if anyone came after us. We moved quickly to the car, sticking to the shadows to stay unseen. As we pulled away, I knew this was just the first step of our long escape, but I couldn't shake the chilling feeling we were already being followed. I squeezed Eliana's hand, silently promising we'd get through this together. Ria never took her eyes off the road, her focus sharp as a knife. The road stretched ahead, dark and full of unknown dangers we'd have to face. We had no idea where we'd end up, but we had each other, and that was all that mattered. I thought we were safe, but that black SUV in the mirror told me otherwise. Eliana gripped my arm tight, her eyes darting to the window every few seconds. That same vehicle had been tailing us since we left the city limits. Ria's hand drifted to her gun. She wasn't about to let anyone hurt us. The mountain road was narrow, no room to outmaneuver them easily. Without a word, she unbuckled her seatbelt, her jaw set in determination. "Keep driving," she shouted, yanking the car door open. She hit the gravel with a steady stance, gun already in her hand. The SUV swerved, trying to cut us off as Ria raised her weapon. I slammed the gas pedal to the floor, the engine roaring in protest. I caught a glimpse in the mirror, Ria firing at their tires, her figure tense. Eliana leaned forward, her voice trembling as she asked if Ria would be okay. I didn't have an answer. I'd gotten us into this mess. The trees blurred past as we sped toward the hidden cabin. The needle climbed higher, but I still felt like we weren't moving fast enough. I kept glancing back, half expecting to see Ria fall. Every curve in the road felt like a death trap, waiting to snap shut. Then I saw at the small wooden cabin, our only hope for safety. For the first time in hours, I let out a shaky breath. We skidded to a stop, the tires kicking up clouds of dust. I jumped out, scanning the road behind us for any sign of Ria. Seconds stretched into minutes, but there was no sign of her. Eliana joined me, her voice soft as she said, "She'll come. She always does." The road lay quiet, the SUV gone, but my worry only grew. Then I saw it, a car, speeding toward us from the distance. Eliana and I waited on the porch, every second stretching like an eternity. We didn't dare speak. Every sound in the dark could be our pursuers. Then we saw headlights. Could it be help? Or more trouble? It was Neil's car, but Ria's arm was wrapped in bandages. My heart dropped. They skidded to a stop, and I rushed over, fear and relief warring in my chest. Her bandage was stained red, but she just waved off my concern. She'd blown out the SUV's tires. She'd handled our tail single-handedly. I turned to Eliana, my throat tight. I couldn't keep letting her get hurt. I took her hands in mine, promising her I'd never let anyone hurt her again. Her eyes glistened with tears, and she didn't say anything at first. Then she squeezed my hand back, her voice soft but firm. "Promise me," she whispered, and I could hear the fear beneath her words. I looked straight into her eyes and said it clear, unshakable. I promise. She collapsed into my arms, and I held her like I'd never let go. Together, we turned toward the cabin, the warm light, a beacon in the dark. The door creaked open, and the warm glow of the cabin wrapped around us. Inside, we finally let our guards down, if just for a little while. I handed Eliana a mug of hot water, her wrist scar peeking out from her sleeve. Neil started talking about our next move, his voice steady in the quiet room. Eliana laid her hand on mine, and in that moment, I knew we'd get through this together. Rain started tapping on the roof, a quiet rhythm that felt like a promise of safety. For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope fragile, but there, I stood in the kitchen doorway, watching Eliana stir soup. All I felt was guilt and hope. Our wedding photo sat on the windowsill, a reminder of happier times I'd almost destroyed. My calloused hands clenched. How could I have believed those lies about her? Neil stepped in, his face serious, holding a folder that would change everything. The air shifted. Whatever he found wasn't going to be easy to hear. Neil laid the folder down, and a photo of Misty, as a child, peeked out. She was just a kid once, with a brother who loved her. What broke her? Her real name was Misty Guerrero. She was part of the family that had targeted my company. My blood ran cold. Her brother was Jasper Guerrero, who died in that warehouse fire. That fire I thought was an accident. She believed I'd set it on purpose. I'd been blind not just to her innocence, but to the pain I'd unknowingly caused. Eliana's hand landed on my back, warm and forgiving. She already knew what I was realizing. Ria's jaw tightened. She'd known Misty was broken, but not why. Jasper was a good man, caught in the crossfire of our world. Neil explained how she'd manipulated Kurt, using her grief to fuel her revenge against me. I couldn't undo the past, but I could fight to make things right for her, and for Misty too. The rain tapped against the window, masking the weight of what we'd learned. Eliana placed our wedding photo on the coffee table, a promise to try again. Our hands met, rough and soft, a silent vow to face whatever came next, together. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but inside, for the first time in months, there was hope. I thought the worst was over. But Neil had a truth that shattered me completely. Neil laid out Misty's whole story, and suddenly every cruel thing she'd done made sense. She wasn't just vengeful, she thought. I'd murdered her brother Jasper in that fire, but the fire was an accident. I tried to save him, but I was too late. Neil made it clear. I had to tell her the truth, or she'd never stop hunting us. Guilt crushed me. I'd let her hate me for so long, all because I was too cowardly to speak up. Eliana looked at me, her eyes full of fear, and she knew what this meeting could cost us both. Just then, my phone blared. It was her, Misty, her voice sharp and broken with rage. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. She gave me an ultimatum I couldn't refuse. Meet her at the old warehouse at midnight, alone, or she'd make Eliana pay for my lies. I had no choice. I had to go, even if every instinct screamed it was a trap. Ria wanted to come with me, but I knew Misty would hurt Eliana if I brought anyone. Eliana begged me to be careful, her voice trembling. I promised I'd come back, no matter what. As I walked out into the cold night, I knew this could be the last time they saw me alive. But I had to make this right. For Misty, for Eliana, for everyone we'd hurt. The old warehouse loomed ahead, dark and menacing, like a monster waiting to swallow me. I took a deep breath, my hand shaking as I reached for the rusted door handle. Inside, I could hear her breathing, slow, steady, like she'd waited for hours. I stepped inside, every sound echoing, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it. There she was, holding a gasoline can, her eyes burning with a hatred I'd never seen before. I stood on the porch, my gut twisting. Misty's call was finally coming. Eliana's hand on my shoulder was the only thing keeping me steady. The screen lit up, and my blood turned to ice. There was her name. I swiped to answer, my voice colder than the night air. "What do you want, Misty?" I snapped, no patience left. Her laugh cut through the line sharp, bitter, full of rage. Eliana squeezed my shoulder tighter. She knew what was coming. "You ruined everything, Andre," she snarled. "Now you'll pay." I stood straighter, ready for whatever cruel demand she had. "Meet me at the old warehouse," she spat. "Midnight. Alone." Alone? I knew this was a trap, but I had no choice. Eliana grabbed my arm, her voice tight with fear. "You can't go alone." "I have to," I whispered. "For both of us. If you touch her, I'll make sure you regret it," I snarled back. Misty laughed, a sound that made my blood run cold. Or, "She'll pay for your mistakes." I wanted to scream, to rush her and end this, but I held back. "We're in this together," she said, her voice steady. I hung up the phone, my jaw tight with rage and fear. I turned to Eliana, my voice breaking. "I'm so sorry you're dragged into this. Now let's go end this," she said, together. I pulled up to that old warehouse, my heart hammering so hard it hurt. This had to end. I walked toward that creaky door, every step feeling like it was stuck in mud. I just hoped she'd listen. The door creaked open, and there she was, Misty, eyes blazing like she wanted to burn everything down. That's when I saw him, Kurt, lurking behind her like a slimy snake. I should have known he was part of this. The air reeked of gasoline and lies. I was trapped, but I had to try to make her understand. "Misty, please," I said, my voice cracking. I didn't kill your brother. His death was an accident. She laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that made my skin crawl. Liar, you're just trying to save yourself. Kurt stepped forward, a greedy grin spreading across his face. Oh, she's not wrong, Andre. You do owe us everything you own. Andre. He pulled a knife from his pocket, the blade glinting in the dim light. You think you can just walk away from this? Not a chance, unquote. I held up my hands, trying to stay calm. Kurt, what do you even want? You're the one using her grief. He laughed, that slimy sound again. Want? I want every last penny you have. She's just a pawn to get it. Misty froze, her face draining of color. What did you just say? I'm a pawn? That's right, he yelled, moving closer. You were never anything more than a way to get to his money. I watched Misty's grip on the gas can tighten. I could see the moment her world shattered. Misty, look at me, I said, my voice soft. I'm telling the truth. He's been using you this whole time. Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was cold. How could I be so stupid? I trusted you. Kurt snarled, realizing he was losing control. Shut up, both of you. This isn't over. I spotted a metal pipe on the floor, my hand reaching for it. I wasn't going down without a fight. Misty turned to Kurt, her eyes blazing with a new kind of anger. You used me. You used my brother's death. The air was so thick with tension I could barely breathe. I knew, whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same. Just then, Kurt dropped the act, laughing at Misty like she was a fool. I froze. Misty wasn't the mastermind. She was just another pawn. Her revenge fantasy shattered as the gas can slipped from her grasp. My instincts kicked in. I grabbed a pipe from the floor, ready to defend us. Kurt didn't even flinch. He charged at me, knife in hand. The glint of his knife sent a chill down my spine. I swung the pipe with all my strength. This was do or die. The impact echoed through the warehouse. Kurt crumpled to the ground. His knife clattered to the floor. Finally, he was powerless. I looked at Misty, her face twisted with rage and betrayal. She reached for the knife on the floor, her eyes burning with hatred. She stood over Kurt, knife in hand, ready to make him pay. Her voice was a broken scream. She raged about being used for profit. I froze, torn between stopping her and letting her take justice. Kurt finally looked scared, begging for mercy like a spineless coward. Her hand trembled violently. She was broken, not a cold killer. I stepped forward slowly, trying to calm her. This wasn't the way. She locked eyes with me, rage fading into hollow despair. Slowly, she lowered the knife. Her fight was finally exhausted. But I knew this quiet was temporary. More storms were coming. I watched Misty press the knife to Kurt's throat. Every muscle in my body locked tight. I held up my hands, trying to calm her. My voice steady, but my breath shallow. She screamed about Kurt using her, her voice breaking like glass in the silence. Then, the police burst in, guns raised, and the whole room went dead quiet. Misty's grip gave out, and the knife clattered to the concrete floor. I stared at her, guilt flooding me. I should have told her the truth sooner. She stared at the ground, her shoulders shaking like a leaf in the wind. Kurt whimpered, realizing he wasn't the one pulling the strings anymore. Two cops stepped forward, their cuffs glinting in the flashlight glow. She looked up at me, her voice a broken whisper. I'm sorry, Andre. I just wanted justice. I reached out, wanting to tell her it wasn't all her fault, but I couldn't find the words. The cops snapped the cuffs on her wrists, leading her toward the door as she stared at me. I watched her wrists being clamped in cuffs, and I knew I'd failed her too. Then Eliana burst in, her voice screaming my name as she ran straight for me. She wrapped her arms around me, but I couldn't shake the weight of what had happened. I held her close, but I knew the damage was already done. Fixing it wouldn't be easy. The warehouse emptied out, leaving Eliana and me alone with the mess I'd helped create. I stared at the door, wondering if I'd ever be able to undo all the harm. Eliana squeezed my hand, her touch a quiet reminder that we weren't alone in this. We stood there, hand in hand, knowing the road to healing would be longer than we thought. The knife lay forgotten on the floor, a symbol of all the lies and pain we'd lived through. I stare at Misty's arrest photo, guilt pressing down on me like a weight. Eliana stands silent by the window, like she can feel every bit of my regret. On the coffee table, her shaky handwriting stares up at me, full of unspoken pain. My hand shakes as I reach for it, dreading what I'll find, but needing to know. I unfold the letter, and her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I just wanted my brother back. That's all she ever wanted, all she ever fought for. I remember the day they took her away broken, just like I was, and I knew I was to blame. Tears burn my eyes. I never stopped to ask why she hated me so much. Eliana turns to me, her eyes soft with understanding, not anger. She sits beside me, her presence a quiet comfort in the heavy silence. I pass her the letter, my voice quiet. She just wanted her brother back. Her eyes fill with tears. As she reads, she gets it. We've all lost someone we loved. She places her hand over mine, like she's holding me together when I can't do it myself. We sit there together, reading it again, mourning for her, for all we've lost. I think of her as a kid, laughing with her brother, before all the pain, all the anger. For the first time in months, I feel a little lighter, like some of the guilt is lifting. Eliana smiles through her tears, and I know she feels it too. We can heal. We look out at the city lights, and for the first time, I see a future ahead. Please forgive me. I do. I forgive her, and maybe, finally, I can forgive myself. We're both broken, but maybe, together, we can put each other back together. Our hands stay locked together, a promise, a start, a chance to heal. We look at each other, and I know we're going to be okay. We're going to make it. The city keeps moving, but for tonight, we're still healing together. I drag myself back to the office, every step feeling heavier than the last. Neil was already there, his face grim, holding a folder I didn't want to open. The numbers didn't lie. Kurt had drained half my bank account. My hands shook as I stared at the proof we were on the brink of bankruptcy. I felt like I was falling, with no way to stop the drop. But Neil didn't let me spiral. He reminded me I wasn't alone. Eliana was out there, and Ria, and all the people who cared. Maybe we could fix this together. But the ringing phone shattered that fragile hope. I picked it up, my voice already cracking with dread. It was my lawyer, and he brought news that made my blood run cold. Iris, Kurt's wife, was suing me, claiming we worked together. She said I'd helped Kurt steal all that money from myself. How could she do this? How could anyone twist the truth so much? Neil stood beside me, silent, but his presence was a lifeline. We were buried in lies, and now we had to fight our way out. I wouldn't let this break me. Not again. We had a fight ahead, but for the first time, I was ready to fight. But I had no idea how much worse this could get. The war for the truth was only just beginning. I walked back to my penthouse, my head spinning from the lawyer's words. Eliana was waiting for me, her eyes full of concern. Then Ria arrived, her face tight with anger. She dropped a lawsuit on the table. Iris, Kurt's wife, was suing me for half my assets. She claimed I colluded with Kurt to drain my own wealth. It was a lie, but hard to prove. Ria pulled out their wedding photo. That's when Eliana froze. I know her, she whispered. I worked with her at the Guerrero warehouse. She told us Iris had been Jasper Guerrero's assistant for years. Iris wasn't just after money. This was personal revenge. Iris was using Kurt's arrest to get back at me for Jasper's death. Ria pointed out the inconsistencies in her story. Eliana confirmed every detail of Iris's past with the Guerreros. We needed evidence to prove I had no idea what Kurt was doing. I felt my anger rising. Iris had been planning this for a long time. Eliana pulled me close, her touch warm through my shirt. We need to get into Iris's old files at the Guerrero warehouse, Ria said. But the warehouse was still a crime scene, guarded 24/7. I don't care about the risks, I said. We have to get that evidence. Ria pulled up the warehouse blueprints. We go tonight, after midnight. She found an old maintenance entrance that wasn't on the official plans. We prepared our gear, each of us knowing this could be dangerous. Eliana checked her flashlight, her eyes showing no fear. Ria pulled out her pistol, checking the chamber with practiced ease. I nodded, my voice steady. Let's go get that evidence. We stepped out into the night, our mission clear and dangerous. We huddled in Ria's apartment, every second feeling like a ticking time bomb. Ria's fingers flew over her keyboard, digging for any clue linking Iris to this mess. Then she found an email sent from Iris to Jasper months before everything fell apart. I leaned in, my stomach dropping as I read the words she'd typed out. Every line spelled out her plan to drain my fortune, to ruin my life from the very start. She didn't just join in later, she orchestrated the whole thing from day one. All those lies, all that pain, she'd been pulling the strings this entire time. Ria slammed the printed email on the table, her voice sharp with urgency. Every detail was there, how she'd siphon funds, how she'd frame us both. I could feel my blood boiling, every lie Iris told replaying in my head. This wasn't just about money, she wanted to destroy everything I loved. Ria's voice cut through my rage, sharp and urgent. We can't let her get away with this. Eliana squeezed my arm, her voice soft but steady. We have to fight back. I nodded, the fog of anger clearing, replaced by cold determination. Ria grabbed a thick folder full of proof texts, receipts, everything we needed. Receipts showed her moving money to hidden accounts months before we even met. We grabbed the evidence, every step heavy with the weight of what we had to do. I gripped the doorknob, knowing this was just the first battle in a long war. Eliana looked at me, her eyes saying everything words couldn't. End. We were in this together. We stepped out into the sunlight, ready to take back what was ours and to make Iris pay. We marched into the police station, evidence in hand, ready to take down Iris for good. Eliana stood beside me, quiet but resolute, as we approached the front desk. The officer's eyes widened as he scanned the email proof enough to arrest Iris, he said firmly. Just then, a familiar click of heels echoed. Iris had walked right in, looking as innocent as ever. She leaned against the desk, feigning concern, and asked for a restraining order against me. My jaw tightened. This woman had no shame, still playing the victim after everything. Eliana's hand found my arm, a quiet reminder to stay calm, to let justice take its course. But the officer didn't buy her act. His tone shifted, sharp and unforgiving, as he called her name. Iris froze, her fake smile slipping as the officer told her we needed to talk about her email to Jasper. Her eyes darted, panic flickering behind that cold facade. She knew we'd uncovered her twisted game. Eliana and I shared a glance. Our plan was working, but we knew this wasn't over yet. The officer pulled up the email on his screen, every word a damning piece of evidence against her. My fist clenched at my side, all the lies, the pain she'd caused, finally catching up to her. Iris's hands balled into fists, her knuckles white with rage as she realized she'd been caught. The officer gestured for her to follow, and for a second I thought she might run. Eliana's shoulders relaxed, a faint sigh escaping her. For once, we didn't have to look over our shoulders. We watched as Iris followed the officer, her head held high but her steps shaky, defeated at last. The officer handed us a copy of the arrest warrant, a small, satisfied smile on his face. We stepped out into the sunlight, the weight that had hung over us for months, finally lifting almost. But just as we breathed easy, my phone buzzed an unknown number, a final twist we didn't see coming. I stood in the police observation room, watching Iris face interrogation. This was long overdue. Eliana stood beside me, her hand on my arm. We both knew this wouldn't be easy. Iris put on that tough act, denying every accusation like she hadn't spent months plotting. The detective slid a photo across the table, one I never thought I'd see again. It was her and Jasper, smiling at a party years before the fire. A memory she'd buried deep. Her face crumbled instantly. That fake toughness vanished faster than smoke and wind. She grabbed the photo so hard, her knuckles turned white. I could see the pain in her eyes. I clenched my own fists. I knew I was partly to blame for what happened to Jasper. Eliana squeezed my hand, her touch a quiet reminder I wasn't alone in this. She broke down sobbing, her body slumping forward like all the fight left her. When she looked up, her eyes were filled with tears and unbridled rage. She screamed about how I'd ruined her life, how I'd killed Jasper in that warehouse fire. I couldn't look away. Every word she said felt like a knife to my chest. Eliana leaned against me, her quiet comfort the only thing keeping me from breaking. She stood up, screaming that she'd make me pay for what I'd done. The detective tried to calm her down. She pointed directly at the one-way glass, her fingers shaking with rage. She knew I was watching. I didn't look away. She deserved to hate me, even if the truth was more complicated than she knew. I thought back to the last time I saw Jasper, before the warehouse fire changed everything. The detective finally got her back in her chair, but her anger was far from gone. We stood there in silence, watching as she told her version of the story, a version I couldn't fully deny. For the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of relief. The truth was finally coming out. Eliana looked at me, her eyes saying everything words couldn't. She understood what this meant for me. Eventually, Iris ran out of steam, slumping back in her chair with a defeated look. The detective continued writing, her pen moving steadily as she recorded every word. When the interrogation finally ended, they led Iris out of the room. We watched her walk down the hall. We'd finally caught Iris, and I thought our nightmare was over. Watching her being taken away felt like a weight had lifted off my chest. Then Ria came sprinting over, her face lit up with excitement. She said she'd found a way to get our money back by freezing Iris's accounts. For the first time in months, I dared to hope we could fix everything. The numbers looked real. We could actually save the company. I turned to Eliana, and she was already smiling at me. I couldn't have done any of this without her. She'd stood by me through everything. Neil was watching us, his expression as serious as ever. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. My lawyer was calling. I answered, expecting more good news, but I was dead wrong. He said Misty had escaped from prison. My blood ran cold. Eliana noticed my face pale and rushed to my side. Ria and Neil joined us, their faces falling when they saw my expression. I squeezed my phone so tight my knuckles turned white. Our nightmare wasn't over. The police car with Iris drove off, but a new threat was already looming. Eliana squeezed my hand, her eyes full of determination. We'd face this together. Ria clutched the recovery plan folder. We still had a company to save. Neil nodded at me, silently saying he'd help us through this too. We turned to leave, but I knew this was far from the end. We stormed back to my penthouse, the air thick with unspoken dread. Eliana didn't waste time. Her gun was already in her hands, ready for anything. Ria burst in next, a thick folder clutched tight in her bandaged hand. She slammed it down, the label burning into my mind. Misty's escape plan. Neil followed close behind, his face grim with the weight of what we knew. He didn't beat around the bush. He knew exactly where she'd hide. Her childhood home, he said. It's the only place she has left. Something snapped in me. No more running, no more letting her hurt anyone. Eliana nodded, her eyes telling me she was right there with me. I grabbed the gun from the drawer, my grip steady despite the rage. My hands, calloused from years of business, now felt built for this, for protecting her. Ria spread out the map, the red marker burning like a warning. That quiet little house in the country she'd thought we'd never find it. Eliana checked her gun, her movements sharp, her wrist scar visible in the light. That scar, a reminder of all she'd lost because of Misty. Neil slung his bag over his shoulder, ready to move at a moment's notice. I stood up, my feet hitting the floor with purpose. No more waiting. My hand wrapped around the doorknob, ready to face whatever waited outside. We moved as one, a unit bound by rage and the need to end this. The door clicked shut behind us, leaving the penthouse empty and silent. We climbed into the car, the engine roaring to life like a growl. The ride was silent, but we all knew what waited at the end of this road. Ria stared out the window, her bandaged arm a reminder of what we'd already lost. We tracked her to the old Guerrero warehouse, and there she was on the roof, gas can in hand. The air reeked of gasoline and regret, thick enough to choke on. I begged her to come down, to let us help her find peace. Eliana held me steady, her touch steady as she read her desperation. Misty just laughed, a broken sound that cut through the silence. She said she just wanted to say goodbye to her brother, to the life she never got to have. I told her we could give her closure, that revenge wasn't the answer. But she wasn't listening. Her mind was stuck on the fire that took her brother. Then she pulled out a match, her fingers trembling as she struck it against the can. The flame flickered to life, casting a hellish glow on her tear-streaked face. She tossed the match onto the gas can, and it erupted into a fireball. I lunged toward the warehouse, desperate to yank her away from the flames. Eliana's hand clamped down on my wrist, yanking me back before I could get too close. Misty just stood there, screaming about justice as the fire grew. The fire spread fast, swallowing the roof as she shouted about making us pay. I fell to my knees, the sound of her screams mixing with the roar of the flames. Eliana knelt beside me, holding me as we watched everything burn to ash. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder as the fire consumed everything. Through the smoke, I saw her one last time, her figure fading into the fire. I didn't know if she'd make it out, and part of me feared we'd never find the truth. The gas can exploded, sending shrapnel flying as the warehouse caved in. We stood there until the first fire truck arrived, our clothes singed by the heat. The blare of sirens cut through the smoke. Our worst fears were coming true. I stood frozen with Eliana, watching flames devour what was left of the warehouse. Every second felt like an eternity, waiting for any sign of her. An officer broke through the crowd, his face grim, something charred in his hand. He stopped in front of us, and I already knew what he was going to say. It was her locket, charred, but still bearing her name. My hands shook as I took it, guilt crashing over me like a wave. I should have told her the truth sooner. I should have saved her. Eliana pulled me into her arms, her voice soft but firm. "It's not your fault," she whispered, holding me tighter. The officer cleared his throat, holding out a crumpled letter. "She wanted you to have this," he said, his voice quiet. I reached for it, my fingers brushing the burnt edges of the envelope. What could she possibly have left to say after all this? Eliana squeezed my hand, her eyes telling me to read it. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding as I pulled the letter out. The flames flickered behind us, casting long shadows over the page. The first words hit me like a punch to the gut. "I'm sorry." I stood there, unable to breathe, as the truth finally sank in. As the fire died down, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. I clutched the locket to my chest, a constant reminder of my failure. Eliana wiped a tear from my cheek, her own eyes glistening. The officer left us alone, giving us space to process what had happened. We stood there for hours, watching the last of the flames die out. When I finally opened the locket, I found a photo of her and Jasper as kids. I stared at Misty's letter, hands shaking. Could she truly forgive me for everything? Her handwriting was shaky, like she'd sobbed through every single word. She said the warehouse fire was an accident, that she knew I tried to save Jasper. I saw Jasper again, trapped in that inferno. I tried so desperately to reach him, but the smoke was too thick. I lost him before I could pull him to safety. I carried that guilt for years. I thought I'd never escape it. A warm hand on my shoulder pulled me back to the present. Eliana was there, quiet and steady. She didn't rush me to speak. She just let me feel her support, unwavering. The penthouse felt warm for the first time in months. No more anger, no more secrets. "She finally found peace," she said, her voice soft but sure. I set the letter down, shoulders relaxing like a weight had lifted. I looked up at her, and for the first time, I didn't see our broken past. I reached for her hand, and she squeezed back like she'd never let go. She was my present, my future. I knew I wouldn't squander this chance. She smiled that soft smile I'd missed so much, a smile that said we'd heal. We held each other, and for the first time in years, I could breathe freely. The sun set outside, painting the sky in pink and orange. A new beginning was here. The letter sat beside our old wedding photo, a reminder of where we'd started and where we'd go. I remembered our wedding day, how happy we were. We could have that again. No more ghosts, no more guilt, just us and the rest of our lives ahead. We were ready to let go of the past and build something new, together, finally. I walked back to my office, ready to rebuild what I'd shattered. Neil was already waiting, holding a chance to fix our mistakes. A rebranding plan, our shot to start over as a team. We'd rename it Buenaventura and Bartolome Enterprises, our name, together. My eyes locked on our wedding photo, and hope finally found me again. I thought we might actually get that second chance we needed. Then my phone rang, Eliana's name glowing on the screen. I answered instantly, my voice soft with relief until I heard her tone. Her voice was sharp, urgent. She was scared, and not for herself. She said someone was following her, watching her, waiting to get to me. My blood ran cold. They weren't after her, they were after me, using her to get close. I stood up, every muscle in my body on high alert. They could be anywhere. The office felt too small, too quiet, like they were already watching from the shadows. I reached for the gun on my desk. I wouldn't let anyone hurt her to get to me. I promised her I'd keep her safe. This time, I'd make sure I kept that promise. Whoever they were about to learn I'd fight to protect what's mine. But I had no idea just how close they really were, or how far they'd go to hurt me. Then I heard it, the faint sound of the door handle, turning, slow and quiet. I raised my gun, ready for whatever was on the other side. The game had just begun, and I had no clue if I'd be ready for what was coming next. I sprinted to Eliana's favorite cafe, my heart pounding with pure fear. There he was, Cairo, sitting across from Eliana, his eyes burning with unbridled rage. he snarled about Kurt, screaming that I'd destroyed his entire world. I didn't hesitate. I moved to shield Eliana from his boiling wrath. I stood between them, my voice steady, but my hands shaking with tension. "You ruined everything!" he shouted, slamming his fist on the table hard. Eliana gripped her coffee cup, her face pale with unspoken fear. I told him the truth. Kurt destroyed his own life with his greed. Just then, police officers burst into the cafe, their guns raised high. The crowd screamed and scattered as the police flooded into the space. Cairo's eyes widened. He knew he had to run, fast. He bolted into the crowd, pushing people aside in his desperate rush. I tried to chase him, but the crowd blocked every step I took. He vanished into the crowd before I could even reach the door. One officer grabbed my arm, his voice sharp with urgent warning. "He's dangerous, armed, and desperate," he warned me firmly. I nodded, my chest tight with guilt for putting Eliana in harm's way. Eliana walked to my side, her hand trembling as she touched my arm. She looked at me, her eyes glistening with tears and quiet relief. We stood there, surrounded by chaos, knowing this wasn't over yet. The coffee cup Cairo knocked over still spilled onto the table. Officers began interviewing witnesses, their notebooks filling with notes. I squeezed Eliana's hand, promising to keep her safe always. We left the cafe, the weight of Cairo's threat hanging heavy over us. I thought the worst was over. Until Cairo Jimenez's face blared from every screen. Eliana gripped my hand tight. We both knew he'd stop at nothing to make me pay for Kurt. Ria burst in, slamming a folder down. Cairo's criminal record was way worse than we thought. Assault, armed robbery, attempted murder. He'd spent half his life in prison. Neil leaned forward, his voice tight. He said he knew where Cairo might hide. Abandoned warehouses, old docks, empty factories, places no one would look. I loaded my gun, my hands steady for the first time in weeks. We had to find him first. Eliana squeezed my shoulder, her voice soft. We'd get through this, together. Ria scrawled on a whiteboard, marking every dark corner Cairo could hide in. He'd escaped police before, Neil said. He knew how to disappear. My gaze locked on an old warehouse in the slums. It felt like the right place. Eliana set her gun on the table, her voice steady. "I'm right beside you, always." Ria circled 3 locations, her voice urgent. "These are his best bets." We grabbed our things, moving fast. The clock was ticking, and Cairo was out there. I gripped the doorknob, taking a deep breath. This was it, no going back now. Eliana paused, glancing back at the news. Cairo's face stared back, cold and angry. We stepped into the hallway, the door clicking shut behind us. The hunt had officially begun. Neil tossed me his keys. His car was fast, perfect for chasing through the city. I pressed the elevator button, my mind racing. What if we were too late? The elevator doors slid open, and we stepped inside. Every second counted now. The numbers ticked down, each ping a reminder that Cairo could be anywhere. Eliana squeezed my hand, her eyes telling me everything we couldn't say out loud. The doors opened to the parking garage, and we moved fast. The city waited, and Cairo was out there somewhere. Neil's car was parked at the end, ready to go. We jumped in, slamming the doors shut. I turned the key, the engine roaring to life. We were off, chasing the ghost of Cairo Jimenez. I followed the clues to this derelict slum warehouse, and I knew we weren't alone. Neil had my back, but every shadow felt like a threat waiting to strike. The door creaked open, and there he was, Cairo, ready for blood. He stood in the darkness, gun raised, his eyes burning with pure rage. This wasn't just a confrontation. This was a reckoning for everything Kurt had done. Before I could speak, he pulled the trigger. Bullet whizzed past my ear. I ducked just in time, the bullet grazing my temple. Adrenaline flooded my veins. Neil fired back, forcing Cairo to take cover behind a rusted container. I steadied my gun, my hands shaking, but my aim true. I couldn't let him hurt anyone else. I pulled the trigger, hit his arm square. He roared in pain, dropping his gun. He crumpled to the ground, blood soaking through his black jacket. I stepped closer, ready to end it. But then I saw his eyes, filled with tears, not rage. He wasn't just a killer. He was a brother who'd lost everything. He whispered, voice breaking, that he only wanted to help Kurt, to make him happy. Neil lowered his gun too. We weren't the judges here, just survivors. I looked down at him, and all I felt was guilt. I'd failed Kurt too. He clutched the silver necklace, Kurt's gift, he said, a reminder of the brother he lost. I pulled a bandage from my pocket and tossed it to him. We weren't enemies anymore. He stared at it for a long time, then began wrapping his arm, his hands trembling. We left him there with a second chance. Sometimes, mercy is the only justice that matters. As I stepped outside, the rain began to fall, washing away the blood and the anger. Neil clapped me on the back, but neither of us spoke. We'd won, but at what cost? I holstered my gun, knowing this wasn't the end. There were still ghosts to face. But for now, we'd survived, and that was enough to keep going. I stood over Cairo, his bandaged arm a raw reminder of our violent clash. This derelict warehouse had become the arena for our final reckoning. His eyes glistened with tears. Regret, not anger, stared back at me. I took a slow step forward, my heart heavy with unescapable guilt. We were both prisoners of choices we never wanted to make. I finally asked the question I'd been avoiding all this time. He didn't flinch, just stared at his bandaged arm as he began to speak. His voice cracked as he told me Kurt was the only family he had left. In this empty warehouse, his words echoed like a broken record. I felt my fist clench. His pain was my fault, every single bit of it. I couldn't look away, couldn't deny the damage I'd caused to everyone. He said I'd destroyed everything he cared about, and he was completely right. Tears pricked at my eyes for him, for Kurt, for all the lives we'd ruined. His hands trembled as he admitted he only wanted revenge for Kurt. A faint beam of light cut through the dust, as if judging us both for our sins. I told him I never wanted Kurt to end up like this, that I was truly sorry. His eyes widened. He hadn't expected me to take responsibility for it all. Then, in a quiet voice, he said the words I never thought I'd hear. "I'm sorry," he whispered. In that moment, I felt a weight lift from my chest. The warehouse felt lighter, like the darkness was finally starting to fade. I reached out and placed a hand on his shoulder. No more enemies, just two broken men. The peeling walls had witnessed so much violence. Now, they saw something else. The bloodstain on his bandage reminded us how close we'd come to losing everything. I glanced toward the exit, wondering if we could ever truly move on. The light from the doorway seemed to call us, promising a way out of the darkness. For the first time, his eyes held something other than pain. Maybe it was hope. We didn't say anything else. Sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. Our footprints in the dust would soon be gone, but this moment would stay with me forever. This derelict warehouse had been our prison, and now it was our freedom. I took a deep breath, ready to face the world outside, broken, but finally free. We watched Cairo get loaded into the ambulance, my chest heavy with guilt. Just as we thought it was over, Ria came rushing over, a folder in hand. She had the grand opening invitation for our community center, our fresh start. I squeezed Eliana's hand, knowing I couldn't have done any of this without her. For a moment, I let myself believe we'd finally found peace. But my phone cut through the silence, my lawyer's name glowing on the screen. I answered, dreading what he had to say. He said two words that made my blood run cold. Misty escaped. Eliana's hand landed on my shoulder, but I could barely feel it. The peace we'd felt shattered in an instant. I clenched my jaw, knowing this wasn't over, not yet. Ria and Neil shared a worried look. They knew what this meant. We were standing on the edge of another storm. The invitation in my hand felt like a cruel reminder of what we could lose. Eliana looked at me, her eyes full of resolve we'd face this together. We turned toward the car, ready to face whatever came next. I gripped the car door handle, my knuckles white with tension. I glanced back at the police station, wondering if we'd ever catch a break. The silence of the parking lot felt deafening, but I wouldn't let Misty take everything we'd built. That grand opening would happen no matter what. We drove away, ready to fight to keep our future safe. Eliana squeezed my hand, and this time, I felt it. We had a fight ahead, but we had each other. And that would be enough, at least for now. We just got back to the penthouse, and I could feel the tension thick in the air. Eliana was already at the window, gun in hand, more alert than I was. Ria burst in before we could speak, her face tight with bad news. She slammed down a folder. Misty had escaped from prison. We were completely caught off guard. Neil didn't waste any time. He immediately pointed out where Misty might be hiding. The only place she'd ever run to when she was scared her childhood home. I knew I had to find her, no more people getting hurt because of my mistakes. Eliana pushed her gun into my hand. Her fingers trembled, but her gaze stayed steady. I wrapped my fingers around the gun. I couldn't let my past mistakes repeat themselves. These hands used to only hold pens and contracts. Now, they held a gun to protect the people I love. This penthouse was supposed to be our safe haven. Now, it just felt like a trap. Ria had already mapped the route. We couldn't waste a single second. I strode toward the door. This time, I wasn't going to run away from my problems. The four of us moved in sync, heading straight for the elevator. Time was against us. The elevator doors slid shut behind us, and the air felt even more suffocating. I owed Misty the truth, and I owed Eliana a future, free from all this chaos. Eliana looked at me, and for the first time in a long while, I saw trust in her eyes. The elevator doors opened, and the cold night air hit us like a punch to the chest. We scrambled into the SUV, and Neil started the engine immediately. We drove into the night, heading toward Misty's childhood home. I had no idea what awaited us there. The GPS led us toward the countryside, each mile bringing us closer to the truth. Eliana stared out the window, her face calm, but her body ready to react at any moment. Ria kept checking the map, making sure we didn't take a wrong turn. She was determined to protect Eliana. Neil drove steadily, his eyes fixed on the road. He was our rock through all this chaos. I kept the gun in my lap, ready to use it if I had to, but hoping I wouldn't have to. The car was silent, except for the engine. We all had our own demons to face when we got there. The trees blurred past us, and the world outside the car felt more and more foreign. We were driving deeper into the countryside, further from the life I used to know. The headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the path to Misty's past. There it was, Misty's childhood home, quiet and dark, waiting for us. I took a deep breath, ready to face what was inside. We finally found her childhood home. Could this be the end of her rage? There she was, frozen in time with a photo of her and Jasper. Her grip on that photo told me all I needed to know. She was broken. I took a step forward, desperate to reach the part of her that still cared. Eliana stayed back, giving her space, but we both knew this could go wrong fast. I told her we weren't here to hurt her, that we could help her heal. She just stared at me, like she didn't believe a single word I said. That photo. It was the only part of her old life that hadn't burned away. I just came to say goodbye, she whispered, like it took all her strength. Goodbye to the brother she lost. Goodbye to the hate that had consumed her. I reached out, trying to show her there was another way out of this. But she flinched away, like my touch was a flame burning her skin. She turned and ran, her feet pounding down the porch steps like the hounds were chasing her. I called after her, but she vanished into the trees before I could finish speaking. I just wanted to be happy, her voice echoed through the trees, raw and broken. Eliana looked at me, her eyes full of fear and sorrow. Will she ever stop? She asked. I couldn't answer her. I didn't know if any of us would ever find peace. The only thing she left behind were her footprints, fading fast in the grass. We stood there for what felt like hours, listening to the birds sing like nothing had happened. What was supposed to be a turning point just left us with more questions than answers. We sat in Misty's childhood home, staring at a photo of her and Jasper, two kids full of light. The air smelled of dust and old books, heavy with memories I never got to know. They looked so happy, so innocent, before everything broke apart. Then Ria walked in, her face serious, holding an envelope that would change everything. I knew immediately what it was, something Misty left behind, for us. Her handwriting was shaky, just like the last time I saw her broken but trying to heal. My hands shook as I took it. I didn't know if I was ready to read what she'd written. The envelope creaked as I opened it, like Misty was right there, watching me. The first words hit me like a punch to the gut. I'm sorry. Eliana's hand landed on my shoulder, warm and steady, as I read every word. She said she forgave me, for everything I'd done, for the pain I caused her. But the words that broke me most, she finally forgave herself. After everything, I looked at Eliana, and I knew we weren't the only ones who needed to let go. Ria stepped forward, her voice steady, like she'd been waiting to say this for a long time. You can't keep carrying these ghosts, she said. Not you, not Eliana, not any of us. The sunlight broke through the dusty windows, like it was trying to show us a way forward. I squeezed Eliana's hand, knowing we were ready to let go, ready to start over. Ria smiled, a small, sad smile, like she was proud of us, like we'd finally found our way. We walked out, leaving the letter there, leaving Misty's ghosts behind us at last. And for the first time in years, I felt light, like we could finally be happy. We didn't look back. There was no need. The future was waiting, bright and warm, for all of us. We were on top of the world at our grand opening until the past came for us. The room buzzed with joy, everyone celebrating our fresh start. That's when I spotted him, Cairo, burning with rage in the crowd. My instinct screamed. I stepped in front of Eliana, ready to fight. He pulled a knife, eyes wild. He was here to avenge Kurt. He yelled about Kurt's death, blaming me for everything. I knew I owed Kurt, but I wouldn't let Eliana get hurt. Just then, police burst in, sirens blaring, guns raised. Cairo didn't hesitate. He turned and vanished into the crowd. The officer yelled after me, "Stop him! He's dangerous!" I took off after him, Eliana's worried voice ringing in my ears. But he was gone, vanished, into the city, before I could reach him. The officer caught up, his voice grim. "You have to find him. He won't stop." I knew he was right. Cairo would come for us again. Eliana found me, her hand grounding me. We'd face this together. The celebration was over, but our fight was just beginning. I'd be ready for him next time. There would be no escape. We walked out, ready to face whatever Cairo had planned. Our dream was still alive, and we'd protect it, no matter what. The past wasn't done with us, but neither were we. I thought we were safe, until Cairo stepped forward, gun raised, eyes ablaze with fury. The grand opening turned into chaos, in the blink of an eye. Eliana and I didn't waste a second. We charged in, ready to stop him. My hands shook, but my aim was steady. This had to end now. I pulled the trigger. The bullet hit his leg, and he collapsed. He cried out in pain, clutching his leg as he hit the ground. His gun clattered to the floor, and we stood watch, waiting for his next move. As he lay there, I saw tears mixing with his rage. He was broken, not just angry. His voice was weak as he spoke, and I leaned in to catch his words. "I just wanted to help Kurt," he whispered. "He was all I had left." My anger faded. Replaced by guilt, he was just a brother grieving. Eliana placed a hand on my shoulder. She understood what I was feeling. The police finally arrived, swarming in to take him into custody. As they pulled him up, he locked eyes with me, and I saw only regret. We stood there, watching him go, the weight of what happened hanging over us. I thought it was over, but I knew our troubles were far from done. The crowd slowly recovered, but the grand opening was ruined beyond repair. Eliana squeezed my hand, and we knew we had to keep fighting for us and for everyone. The grand opening invitation lay crumpled on the floor, a harsh reminder of our broken peace. We stepped outside, the sun on our faces, ready for whatever came next. I found Cairo huddled on the community center floor, his leg wrapped in dirty bandages. Something was off. The grand opening was supposed to be our fresh start, but he showed up, broken and defeated. He didn't look like the vengeful man who tried to kill me just days ago. I approached cautiously, unsure if this was another trap, but his eyes told a different story. The crowd had cleared out, leaving just us. The silence was deafening. His hands tightened on his jeans, like he was fighting to find the words. I waited, my guard still up but my heart softening a little. When he finally spoke, his voice was broken, barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry," he said. The words hung in the air, heavy and raw. I froze. I'd expected anger, threats, anything but this. He started talking, his voice cracking as he spoke of being alone. "Kurt was all I had," he said. "When he was arrested, I had no one left." I felt my guard fall. I knew what it was like to lose everything, to feel completely alone. I wanted to reach out, to tell him I understood, but I wasn't sure if he'd accept it. He looked up at me, his eyes begging for something I wasn't sure I could give. I made a decision. I couldn't let him suffer, like I had. I held out my hand. "Stand up," I said. "We're going to get you help." He stared at my hand like it was a lifeline he wasn't sure he deserved. He took my hand, and I pulled him up. His leg wobbled, and I steadied him. Tears streamed down his face again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. I put my hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone anymore," I said. He stood a little straighter, like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. "Thank you," he whispered. The words felt more meaningful than any apology. I smiled back. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was truly making amends. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting long shadows. Maybe, just maybe, we could both find redemption. His bandage was still dirty, still a reminder of the pain we'd both caused. But then I heard footsteps outside the door. My guard went back up. Cairo tensed up too, like he was expecting the worst. The shadow moved closer, and my heart started to race. Was this another trap? But it was just Ria, holding a stack of papers. She looked confused. "What's going on here?" she asked, her eyes flicking between Cairo and me. I looked at Ria, and I smiled. "We're just figuring things out," I said. Cairo tightened his grip on my arm, like he was afraid I'd let go. Ria's expression softened. She nodded, like she understood what had just happened. She held out the papers. "We have a lot to discuss about the center," she said. I took the papers, and Cairo relaxed a little. For the first time, he looked like he could breathe. The words "community center" stared up at me. Maybe this was our chance to do something good. I looked at Cairo, and I knew what I had to do. We were going to make this right. Cairo looked back at me, and for the first time, I saw hope in his eyes. The sunlight filled the room, and for a moment, everything felt like it might be okay. But then, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out, and my heart dropped. The message was short, but it sent a chill down my spine. "She's still out there." Cairo saw the look on my face, and he tensed up again. "Who?" he asked. I didn't need to say the name. We both knew who it was. Misty was still out there. Ria stepped forward, her expression hardening. "We'll find her," she said. "Together." I nodded. We'd come too far to let Misty ruin everything we'd built. We stood together, ready to face whatever came next. Our fight wasn't over yet. The sunlight streamed through the door, but it didn't feel warm anymore. It felt like a warning. Cairo squeezed my arm, like he was reminding me we were in this together. We walked toward the door, ready to face whatever was waiting for us. The real test was just beginning. I watched Cairo being loaded into the ambulance, his face twisted with deep regret. I stood with Eliana, the weight of all our struggle finally starting to lift. Then Ria appeared, her face glowing with an unexpected, hopeful light. She held out our company's expansion plan, our real chance to rebuild. We weren't just surviving anymore. We were finally moving forward. I pulled Eliana close, finally able to say the words I'd owed her for so long. "I love you," I whispered. I never stopped, even when I was too stupid to see it. She smiled, her fingers brushing my cheek. "I know," she said. "I've always known." Ria and Neil stood back, grinning, like they'd known this day would come all along. Then my phone rang, the screen flashing a name I thought I'd never hear from again. I hesitated, then answered, my voice cold. "Misty, what do you want?" Her voice was tired, broken, nothing like the sharp, angry woman I'd known. "I'm sorry, Andre," she said. "I'm sorry for everything. I'm ready to turn myself in." Ilyana squeezed my arm, her eyes full of worry, but also understanding. I hung up, my mind racing. After all this time, Misty was finally surrendering. Ria and Neil came over, their expressions curious, waiting for me to explain. "Misty's turning herself in," I said. "She's ready to pay for what she did." Ria let out a breath she didn't know she was holding, relief flooding her face. Neil clapped me on the shoulder, his expression steady. "It's about time." We stood there together, watching the sunset, finally feeling like maybe, just maybe, we could heal. I squeezed Ilyana's hand tighter, knowing this wasn't the end. But it was a start. We walked back toward the community center, ready to face whatever came next together. Ilyana and I drove to Misty's childhood home, my heart heavy with uncertainty. The quiet air smelled of grass, a stark contrast to our recent chaos. There she was, on the porch, holding a photo I knew all too well. Every step felt like a walk toward an uncertain reckoning. We stopped, the silence stretching out between us like a chasm. That photo held all the innocence she'd lost to revenge. Her voice cracked as she spoke, words I never expected to hear. I froze, stunned by what she said next. I spoke softly, trying to calm the storm in her eyes. Tears streamed down her face, carrying all her pain and regret. She said she'd finally found peace. A weight lifted from her shoulders. Eliana's face softened, sympathy replacing the anger she'd once felt. Eliana stepped forward, her movement slow and deliberate. She wrapped her arms around Misty, a gesture of forgiveness I never thought possible. Her voice was soft but firm as she said the words Misty needed to hear. For the first time in years, Misty smiled a real smile. I felt a weight lift from my chest, hope replacing the guilt I'd carried. We stood there, bathed in sunlight, the past finally starting to fade. A bird chirped nearby, a small sign of the peace we'd found. That day, we didn't just find forgiveness, we found a way to move forward. Eliana squeezed my hand, a silent promise to face whatever came next together. Misty turned and walked inside, ready to face the consequences of her choices. Watching Misty being led away, I thought this nightmare was finally over. Just when I thought we could breathe, Ria came rushing over with something new. A community outreach program, our chance to honor Jasper's memory. I turned to Eliana, my heart bursting with gratitude for her support. We held each other, finally feeling a tiny glimmer of hope. But the peace didn't last. My lawyer was calling, his name glowing on my screen. The second I answered, all the warmth drained from my body. He said Iris had escaped from prison. She was coming for us. Eliana squeezed my hand, her eyes filled with quiet, steady fear. Once again, our fragile peace shattered, replaced by cold dread. Misty didn't fight, her eyes showing a flicker of genuine regret. The police car door slammed shut, carrying away the woman who ruined so much. The program was meant to help at-risk youth in Jasper's name. I told Eliana I couldn't have survived any of this without her by my side. For a brief moment, we dared to imagine a normal, quiet life. But fate had other plans. My phone screamed to life, shattering the silence. I fumbled for my phone, already sensing the worst was coming. It was my lawyer, his name glowing like a warning sign. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Iris was free. We clung to each other, bracing for the storm we knew was coming. Eliana's eyes told me she wasn't scared, she was ready to fight again. Ria immediately started digging for any clue about where Iris might be. The smell of gasoline hung in the air, a bitter reminder of all we'd lost. I thought of Iris, her eyes full of hatred, and wondered what she'd do next. We had to leave, to prepare, to survive whatever Iris had planned for us. I rushed back to my penthouse, my heart pounding with dread. Iris was free. The air was thick with tension. We knew she'd come for us, and she wouldn't stop. Ria brought proof Iris had meticulously planned her escape, and she was coming for me. I didn't wait. I needed to arm myself, to be ready for whatever came next. We were no longer just victims. We were a team, ready to fight back. Neil pointed to a spot on our map. He knew where she'd hide. The old Guerrero warehouse, her family's ruins. The only place she'd feel safe. I gripped the gun until my knuckles whitened. This ends today. Eliana met my gaze. No fear, left only resolve. We'd face this together. Ria had studied every detail. She knew Iris wasn't coming alone. We didn't waste another second. We had a warehouse to storm. Every creak of the door felt like a countdown to the final confrontation. Neil warned us to stay sharp. Iris would be waiting, ready to strike. The old Guerrero warehouse loomed in the distance, a tomb of our past and battlefield of our future. We marched toward the warehouse, our footsteps echoing in the silent night. I gripped my gun tighter, ready to face the monster I'd helped create. Eliana scanned every shadow. She knew better than anyone how dangerous Iris could be. The warehouse stood before us, a silent judge of all we'd done and all we'd lose. I took a deep breath. No more running, no more hiding. This ends now. In, we moved forward as one, ready to confront the ghosts of our past and claim our future. The rusted iron gate creaked as we approached, a warning of what lay inside. Ria led the way, her flashlight cutting through the suffocating darkness. The warehouse was empty, but we could feel her presence, waiting, watching. I heard it first, a faint scuffle from the depths of the warehouse. She was here. I gestured for silence, my gun aimed at the dark. We were no longer hunters. We were the hunted. I thought we'd left all this violence behind, until we pulled up to that cursed warehouse. Eliana and I gripped our guns, every muscle tensed for what we'd find inside. There she was, Iris, eyes wild with rage, holding a gas can like a weapon. She screamed about Jasper, about justice, about making me pay for what happened. The warehouse smelled like gasoline and regret, two things I knew all too well. Then she struck the match. The flame danced, tiny but deadly, in her palm. I didn't think. I just moved, ready to tackle her before it was too late. But Eliana's hand clamped down on my arm, stopping me cold before I could rush in. The match fell. Time slowed as it hit the pool of gasoline at her feet. Fire erupted, swallowing the floor around her in a wall of orange fury. I watched, helpless, as the flames climbed the warehouse walls. Eliana held me tight, her voice soft but firm. "It's not your fault." The fire grew louder, hungrier, eating everything in its path. We stepped back, forced to watch as the building burned to the ground. The warehouse that held so many ghosts, now it was burning them all away. I wanted to scream, to run in, to fix what I couldn't fix all those years ago. I saw her silhouette in the flames. And for a second, I thought I saw regret. But the fire swallowed her before I could tell if it was real. We stood there for hours, watching the fire burn away our past. Eliana squeezed my hand, and I knew we had to keep going, no matter what. The flames reached for the sky, as if demanding justice from the heavens. The night was lit up by the fire, casting long shadows on the empty lot. I thought about Jasper, about what he would have wanted, and I knew it wasn't this. We got in the car and drove away, leaving the fire and the ghosts behind us. Fire trucks blared their sirens, cutting through the smoke at the old warehouse. We stood there, frozen, waiting for news we already feared. My hands shook so hard I thought my knuckles would break. An officer approached, his face tight with bad news. He held out something charred, something that made my blood run cold. It was her necklace, melted almost beyond recognition. He didn't have to say it. I knew she hadn't made it. This was my fault. All of it. Every choice led to this. Eliana's arms wrapped around me, pulling me back from the edge. "It's not your fault," she whispered, her voice breaking. She looked at me like I wasn't a monster, like I could be saved. The officer cleared his throat, holding out a crumpled envelope. Her handwriting, shaky but recognizable, stared up at me. "She wanted you to have this," he said. "One last message." My hands trembled as I took it, dreading what it might say. Every line felt like a knife, carving into my guilt. The smoke still hung in the air, a reminder of all we'd lost. What if she hated me? What if she cursed my name? Eliana squeezed my hand, silent support in the chaos. Whatever was inside that envelope, I knew I had to face it. For her. The seal was broken, like she'd opened and closed it 100 times. I took a deep breath, my thumb hovering over the flap. What if her words destroyed the last piece of me left? Eliana nodded, her eyes saying, "You can do this," without words. I tore it open, the paper crinkling loud in the quiet. I held Iris's trembling letter, guilt weighing on my chest like lead. The penthouse felt emptier than ever, shadows swallowing our shared memories. I never thought she'd write this words I didn't deserve to read. Eliana stood behind me, quiet but steady, like she always was. We didn't need words, we both knew this was a new start. She wrote she'd let revenge blind her, that she knew I never meant harm. I looked at Eliana, wondering, could we truly move past all this? Her smile answered before she spoke. She'd already found her peace. I set the letter down, like letting go of a weight I'd carried too long. She knelt beside me, her touch soft. It's time to let it all go. I covered her hand with mine, finally feeling a flicker of hope. The city kept glowing, like it was waiting for us to catch up. We sat there, quiet, but for the first time, it felt like peace. That letter wasn't just forgiveness, it was a chance to start over. I looked at Eliana, and I knew we could do this, together. She squeezed my hand, her voice steady. "We're in this, always." The night stretched on, but for once, I wasn't afraid of the dark. Our hands stayed locked, a promise that we'd never let go again. The city was still there, but so were we stronger, together. This was our new beginning. No more ghosts, no more regrets. I sat at my desk, signing papers for the community outreach project. Finally, a chance to do good. Eliana stood by the window, watching the city below. She'd come so far with me. Ria burst in, holding a folder with a fire in her eyes. She had news that would change everything. She marched over, slamming the folder down. "We found our first project," she said, grinning. "A community center in the slums for at-risk teens." It felt like redemption. We'd build classrooms, job training, a safe space for kids with nowhere else to go. I looked at Eliana, my heart full. None of this would matter without her. I walked over to her, my voice soft. "I love you," I said, meaning every word. She placed her hand on my chest, smiling. "I love you too, Andre, always." But just then, my phone rang. The number belonged to my lawyer. My stomach dropped. I answered, my voice tight. "What is it?" I asked, dreading the answer. He spoke quickly, words that made my blood run cold. Cairo had escaped from jail. Eliana saw my face fall. She knew immediately something was wrong. She came over, placing a hand on my shoulder. "What is it?" she asked, her voice steady. I told her, my voice hard with determination. "He's coming for us, but we won't run." Ria grabbed her bag, already planning. "We need to tighten security, now." She had protocols ready, backup plans for every possible scenario. We left the office, the weight of the new threat hanging over us. The city looked darker now, like danger was hiding around every corner, but we had each other. And together, we'd face whatever came next. The elevator doors closed, taking us into the unknown. None of us spoke, but we all knew, and this was far from over. I rushed back to my penthouse, my blood boiling at Cairo's escape. Eliana was already on guard, her gun steady, eyes sharp with warning. Ria burst in, face tight with urgency, holding Cairo's escape plan. That folder held proof Cairo was free, and he was hunting us. Neil stood behind her, grim-faced, already mapping our next move. I couldn't let him hurt anyone else. Not after all, we'd survived. Eliana's grip tightened, her past trauma flaring in her eyes. Ria spread the plans out, every detail of how he'd broken free. Neil pointed to our target, the old warehouse in the slums, a place of darkness where Cairo would hide to plot his revenge. I grabbed my own gun, my resolve hardening with every movement. Eliana nodded, her trust clear. We were in this together. We couldn't waste a second. Cairo wouldn't wait for us. I'd failed once before. I wouldn't let it happen again. The door clicked shut behind us, sealing our dark path ahead. Neil confirmed our route, his voice low with urgency. Eliana brushed her hand against mine, a silent promise to protect each other. We stepped into the elevator, the air thick with unspoken fear. As we descended, I knew this was only the beginning. I just hoped we'd reach Cairo before he reached someone we loved. Ria showed us satellite shots, no easy way in or out. Only one main entrance, easy to defend, hard to escape. I thought we'd left the violence behind, but I was dead wrong. Neil and I tracked Cairo to this derelict warehouse in the slums. Every creak of that metal door felt like a death sentence. We moved silently, our guns raised, ready for the worst. That's when I saw him, Cairo, alone in the dark, gun in hand. His eyes burned with a rage I'd seen before, unhinged, desperate. I tried to reason with him, but words were useless now. He didn't hesitate, his finger tensed on the trigger. The bullet whizzed past my ear so close I could feel the heat. I reacted on instinct, my gun fired. Before I thought, I saw his face twist in pain as the bullet hit his chest. He crumpled to the floor, his gun clattering from his grasp. A wave of guilt hit me. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. Neil moved to check on him, but I knew it was too late. Then he looked at me, his eyes glistening with tears, not rage. His voice was a whisper, broken and desperate. I just wanted to help Kurt. And he was all I had left. I didn't know what to say. Guilt swallowed me whole. The warehouse felt colder than ever, heavy with what we'd done. I knew this wasn't the end, more ghosts would come for us. I whispered a quiet apology, hoping he could hear it. Neil called for help, but we both knew it was pointless. I stood over Cairo, my chest heavy, with guilt I couldn't shake. He lay there, barely breathing, and all I could see was the anger I'd sparked. His eyes glistened with tears. This wasn't the cold killer I'd fought before. I lowered my gun. What was the point in more violence? We were both broken, trapped in this cycle of blame and regret. The bandages on his arm told a story of a fight he'd already lost. I couldn't look away. Every part of me ached for what I'd done. This warehouse had become a tomb for all our broken hopes. His voice was a whisper, barely audible over the rain outside. I saw my own guilt staring back at me in his eyes. He started to speak, and every word cut through me like a knife. This place was a mirror for the mess we'd both become. Tears streamed down his face as he told me about Kurt. He was all Cairo had. I'd taken that from him too. The blood on the floor wasn't just his. It was mine too. I told him I didn't want this for Kurt either, that I was sorry. He closed his eyes, and for a second, I thought he might not answer. We weren't alone anymore. Ria and Neil had found us. Their faces told me they knew we were on the edge of breaking. Then he spoke the words I never expected to hear. He was sorry. For the first time in months, I felt a weight lift from my chest. Light streamed through the door, like a sign we might both be okay. Eliana's hand on my shoulder told me I wasn't alone in this. She understood. We all carried scars we couldn't see. In that moment, we weren't enemies. We were just people, trying to heal. We watched as Cairo was loaded into the ambulance, my chest tight with guilt. He'd almost died because of me. Because I couldn't save his brother. Eliana squeezed my hand, her touch grounding me in the chaos. Then Ria came running, her face bright with unexpected news. She held out an invitation. Our community center was finally opening. After everything we'd been through, we were actually building something good. I couldn't have done any of this without her. She saved me, over and over. She smiled, soft and warm, like she knew exactly what I was thinking. Neil joined us, quiet as always, but I could see his relief. Then my phone rang. The name on the screen made my blood run cold. It was my lawyer. His voice was sharp, urgent, like something terrible had happened. Misty escaped from prison, he said. My whole world stopped. Eliana was by my side instantly, holding me up as my legs went weak. Ria and Neil closed in, forming a wall around us, like they could keep the danger out. I couldn't believe it. We thought she was gone, that we were safe. Ria pulled out a map, her voice tight. She'll go here. It's the only place she has left. The old Guerrero warehouse. The place where it all started. I knew what I had to do. I had to finish this, once and for all. We walked to our car, rain starting to fall. Each step heavier than the last. The rain soaked my face, but I didn't care. This time, I wouldn't run. We drove into the night, heading straight for the warehouse. Straight for Misty. Back in my penthouse, the air is thick with tension I can almost taste. Eliana's already armed. She knows we're not safe here. Ria showed up with bad news. Misty's escaped from prison. Neil's already tracked her. She's hiding in the old Guerrero warehouse. That place is where it all started, where Jasper died in the fire. Eliana's scar still lives, a reminder of all we've lost. She's not taking any chances, not after everything we've been through. I can see the fear in her eyes, but also the resolve. She chambers around, ready for whatever comes next. We're not just going after Misty, we're trying to save her. Ria's got every detail of Misty's escape plan mapped out. Misty didn't just break out, she planned every step. Ria's furious Misty used her grief to manipulate everyone. Misty wasn't always this broken, she was just a kid once. We can't let her keep running, she needs help, not more pain. Niels pinpointed her exact location, the old Guerrero warehouse. It's the only place she has left her last link to Jasper. Neil knows how dangerous this could be, Misty's desperate. This is where Jasper died, the fire that broke everything. We're walking into a trap, but we have no choice. I reach for the pistol on the table, my hands shaking with guilt. I'm not here to hurt her, I'm here to make this right. Every mistake I made led us here. I can't run from it anymore. I chamber around, ready to face the consequences of my actions. I won't let Misty suffer any more than she already has. We're ready to go one last mission to fix what's broken. Eliana opens the door outside. The city's dark and unforgiving. Rhea grabs her coat, ready for whatever the night brings. Neil's got the car keys. Our ride is waiting downstairs. We step into the darkness, hoping to bring Misty back to the light. Our wedding photo still sits on the table, covered in dust, like our love. The fire in the fireplace flickers, reminding us of what we almost lost. My hands are still rough from years of business, but now they hold a gun. Eliana's scar is still there, a reminder of her sacrifice for me. This apartment was supposed to be our forever, but it became a prison. Rhea's folder is worn. She's been working on this for weeks. Neil's glasses reflect the warehouse marker. He's been obsessed with this case. Misty left an apology letter hidden in her escape files. Her handwriting is shaky. She's just as broken as the rest of us. I read her letter, and for the first time, I understand her pain. I finally get it. Misty's anger was just grief in disguise. I set the letter down, determined to give her the closure she needs. Eliana looks at me, understanding, not angry. She's always had my back. She places her hand on my shoulder, reminding me I'm not alone. We hug for the first time in months. We feel like a team again. Rhea's pistol is ready. She's not letting anything happen to us. Neil's car keys are on the table, our ride to the warehouse. Neil's worried. He knows this could be a suicide mission. The warehouse is marked with Misty's name, like a tombstone. The door closes behind us, leaving our old life in the dark, forever. I led Eliana to the old Guerrero warehouse, my heart tangled in fear and regret. There she stood, holding a faded photo of her and Jasper as kids. Her cheeks were streaked with tears, her voice cracking as she spoke. I reached for her, desperate to calm the storm in her eyes. But she flinched away, like I was the monster she hated most. All she wanted was to say goodbye to the brother she lost, to the life she could have had. Eliana placed a hand on my arm, her eyes soft with pity for the broken woman before us. I just wanted to be happy, she whispered, her voice breaking into a sob. Before I could respond, she turned and ran toward the back door, her dress flapping behind her. I lunged after her, but she was already gone, disappearing into the trees. My fist clenched at my side, rage and guilt warring in my chest. I'd failed her again. Eliana pulled me close, her warmth a small comfort against the cold. We stood there, watching her vanish into the dense trees, not knowing if we'd ever see her again. Eliana's voice was soft, laced with fear, as she asked the question we both feared the answer to. Is she ever going to stop? She whispered. I didn't have an answer. The sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, but our hearts stayed cold. I turned to Eliana, my voice steady with newfound resolve. We have to find her. We have to help her. We walked to our car, our steps purposeful, ready to chase the ghosts of our past. I gripped the car keys so hard my knuckles white, praying we weren't too late. The engine roared to life, and we drove toward the trees, chasing a shadow we might never catch. After all the chaos, we finally had our joy at the community center opening. The crowd cheered, and for a second, all our pain felt distant. But then I saw her, Misty, quiet in the crowd, holding that old photo. That photo of her and Jasper. It dragged up all my guilt. She looked at us, and I saw not anger, but deep sadness. Then she smiled a small, sad smile, and I knew she'd found peace. She turned and walked away, vanishing into the crowd without a word. I watched her go, the weight on my chest finally lifting a little. Eliana squeezed my hand, her eyes soft with understanding. She's at peace now, I whispered, almost to myself. And she said, so are we, Andre. So are we. In that hug, I felt all our pain and regret start to heal. The crowd kept cheering, but all I heard was the quiet in my heart. Rhea and Neil smiled at us, and I knew we'd all survive this. Misty was gone, but I knew she'd found the peace she deserved. The sun set, and for the first time in years, I felt real hope. I chased redemption for so long, and found it right here with her. Eliana's touch was soft, a reminder we were in this together. This center wasn't just a building, it was our brand new beginning. Together, we'd face tomorrow, no more ghosts, no more regrets. I never thought we'd make it to this moment, standing under this painted sky. Neil and Rhea stood behind us, finally at peace after all chaos. My calloused hand found hers finally calm, no more fighting. I stared at the sunset, replaying every nightmare that almost broke us. For so long, I thought we'd drown in pain, but here we were, alive, together. I never thought I'd get to say this to her after all I'd done wrong. She turned to me, her smile warmer than any sunset I'd ever seen. Her scar, a reminder of all we survived, no longer a mark of fear. I brushed her cheek, finally daring to believe we could heal. Neil and Rhea stepped back, letting us have this quiet moment to ourselves. I told her I never thought we'd make it here, that I was so sorry for everything. She shook her head, her voice soft, saying she always knew we'd pull through. We pulled each other close, finally letting go of all the guilt and pain. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in deeper shades of orange and purple. For the first time in so long, I didn't feel haunted by our past. I whispered how much I loved her, how I'd never let her go again. She rested her head on my shoulder, finally safe, finally at peace with me. Below us, the celebration continued, a reminder of the life we'd reclaimed. Neil and Ria watched the city, finally free from all the danger we faced. As stars began to appear, I knew we'd made it. We were finally home together. I never thought I'd get to feel this light, this free from all my mistakes. She brushed my hair back, her touch a promise of all the days ahead. The wind blew softly, carrying the sound of laughter from below us. I still carried our old wedding photo, a reminder of where we started. We looked at our old wedding photo, amazed at how far we'd come together. After all the blood, tears, and lies, Eliana and I finally found peace right here. This album holds every scar, every victory, every step we took back to each other. Even Misty, our greatest tormentor, finally set us both free with this letter. Neil and Ria stood by us through every storm, their family now too. This penthouse used to feel like a cage. Now it's our safest haven. They stood to leave, giving us the quiet we needed to heal fully. For the first time in months, we didn't have to hide or pretend with anyone. Eliana's smile said, everything, all the pain had been worth it. We were finally alone. No more threats, no more secrets hanging over us. I pulled her close, like I was trying to make up for all the time we lost. Misty wrote that she finally forgave me and herself for all the hate. I told her we'd build something new, something that was ours alone. This space wasn't just a penthouse anymore, it was our home. We didn't need a new wedding, we just needed to be together. I didn't have to say anything, she knew I'd never let her go again. We looked at the old photos, remembering the love that started it all. That day, I promised to love her forever, and now I get to keep that promise. The city outside was still full of chaos, but inside, we had perfect calm. Eliana said we had a future full of hope, and I finally believed her. We'd been through hell, but together, we were finally ready to build our heaven. I told her we'd face whatever came next together, always. This wasn't just a new start for us, it was a second chance at everything. Misty's forgiveness taught us that even the broken can find peace. We didn't need grand gestures, just each other and the love we'd reclaimed. Outside, the world kept turning, but inside, we'd found our forever.